Good evening. I am Ronique Bernard, a teacher of mathematics for CDP Labs Edu Services. I will be taking you through the worksheet solution video for relations and functions worksheet. Stay tuned to CDP Labs Edu Services. Now, here is our first question, and it reads: the function of f with domain a is equal to 1, 2, and 3 is given by f of x half times x minus 3. Just let us look at how this question is done. Alright, so first of all, it's part 1 says what is the value of f of 1. So if you notice that the number 1 is where x is, so wherever x is in the function, we'll put the number 1. So we'll write it as half bracket 1 minus 3. Now it says that any number multiplied by 1 is the same number, so half times 1 is the same as a half minus 3. Now I normally ask, half, the answer is going to be negative minus 2 and a half. Of course, you know that, let's say you have like 3 wholes. Let's not use that. Let's use this. So you have 3 wholes, and you're not drawing the scale. Then you're going to take half of 1 whole. What you're left with, 2 and a half. Now why is it negative? Because the number 3 is larger than the number half. So obviously when you take a larger number from a smaller number, you left a negative number. Alright? So now we're going to move on to the other part of the question. Now part 2 says find the value of x for which f of x is equal to minus 2. Now how is that done? Now f of x can be written as y. It's the same thing as the letter y, right? And therefore where f of x is, we'll put a negative 2. So let's just see how that is done now. Alright, so we'll write it as negative 2, that's where f of x is equal to half x, let me put in brackets first, minus 3. Now I love to rewrite it. Well, I love to rewrite it, so I'm going to rewrite it and say half x minus 3 is equal to negative 2. So it looks more easier to work with that one. Good. Now, the question that you ask yourself right here now is simple. The question you ask yourself right here is very simple. You would say, okay then, what number, when I take away 3 from it, so half x is a single number. So what number when you take away 3 from it will give us negative 2? Now, of course, it simply means that it would be a smaller number than negative 3. Or, well, smaller number than 3, that is. So, of course, 3 from 1 will give us negative 2. So, we're saying that half x is equal to positive 1. So, half x is equal to positive 1. Or you could just simply take over the negative 3 over this side here, and we'll be see negative 2 plus 3 will still give us to positive 1. Now, half of what number now is equal to 1? Well, half of what, sorry, I should say half of what number is equal to 1? No, that must be 2. So x is equal to what? 2. Alright? So that is the answer for x. Alright, so we're going to go to the other part, the part number 3. Let's see how that is done. So part number 3 says now, an ordered pair for the function is expressed in the form AB using your answers answers to AI and A part 2, or otherwise list the ordered pairs for the function f. And we can do it like this. So of course we know that in part 1 the x value was given, so we can write down 1 for the x value there, and the answer that we got, we were asked to find the value of f of 1, which would be the y value, and that was negative 2.5. And of course some persons may want to write negative 2.5, same answer and so forth. Did not tell whether or not you should leave your answer in decimal or in fraction, so you'll still be correct. Now the second pair now would be for part 2, you were given the y value, but you were asked to find the x value. We discovered now that the x value is 2, and of course the y value just given is minus 2. So those are the two ordered pairs. Alright, so now we're going to go to other part of the question. The other part of the question asks you to explain why is it that f of x is not equal to 5 for the function specified on the other page that we looked at. Now the clear answer to that, that's known, is that the value of x for the domain does not exceed 3. Simple as that. Alright, so you could work it out and you'd have figured it out that of course f of x would have to be 16 for f of x equal to 5, and of course 16 is not a part of the domain of A. The domain of A is 1, 2, 3. Part B now, that asks us to solve the inequalities of 3x minus 1, which is less than 11. So that what this is asking us to is to find what value of x when multiplied by 3 and minus 1 from it. We're going to get what? It will be less than 11. So that statement will have to be true. Now, how that is done, what I would do, I would set the expression, the inequality, 3 of x minus 1, and set it equal to 11. Good? Now, so from there now, we can ask ourselves the question, what number when subtracted, when you sub minus 1 from that number? So we're using all of this right here to represent a single number. So we take 1 from that single number equals 11. So what number when you minus 1 from it? Get 11. 12. Right? I heard 12, right? So 3x then is equal to 12. Good? Now 3x means 3 times a certain number x. So what number when multiplied by 3 will give us 12? And x is therefore equal to 4. Now that is not how you write your answer, because x cannot be equal to 4. Because if you say, well, x can be equal to 4, yes. Good, because 3 4 is 12 minus 1 give you 11. But guess what? The answer should not be equal to 11, but less than 11. So therefore, the values that you could test now and say, alright, if I try a value less than 4, let's say I try 3. 3 is 9, minus 1 is 8, still less than 11. So therefore, your answer then, the x values must be less than 4. And we're going to write that properly. Must be less than 4. So you write your first answer just like that. Good? Alright, let's go to the other question, part B of the same question. My apologies. Alright, let's get rid of that. Okay, so part B now asks, how does it read? 2 is less than or equal to 3x minus 1. I like to write it this way, so I'm going to write it like 3x minus 1, and note that must be greater or equal to 2. So I just turn it around, mean the same thing. Now because it's equal to 2, I can then write it as 3x minus 1 equals 2. So the question is now, what number when multiplied? So what number do I subtract from 1 from to get 2? But all the 3. The 3x then is equal to 3. And here's a big question then. What number when multiplied by 3 is equal to 3? And that answer is evidently what? Evidently 1. Good. So when you multiply, of course, 3 times 1, you're going to get, definitely going to get 3. So therefore, that would now be x is equal to 2. Alright, x can be equal to 1. Good, x can be equal to 1 because 3 ones, 3 from 3 is 2, and the expression will be true that 2 is equal to 2. Now, can it be less than 2? Certainly not. So therefore your answer then will be right. If I use 2, 2, 3, 6 minus 1 give me 5. So it will remain the same, that is actually 1 greater than the 2. So therefore your answer then for the value of x now would be x is greater than or equal to 1. So our first one would have had x is less than 4, and our second one x is greater than or equal to 1. Alright, now so the third part of the question asks us now to represent the solution to this statement right here. You're going to be using both your answers that you got before, and let us now see how that is done. Alright, so let's just go through that now. So the first answer was that x is less than 4. So we're going to draw a circle that's not shaded above 4. The second one is that x is equal to 1. And if x is equal to 1, we'd have to use one that is now shaded. So let's draw it. So let's change the color from white, so you can actually see, and black. Alright, so let's just ensure that the color is black, right? Okay. Right there. So you have to shade it. Then you draw your line. So the values is between these two. It's better to use a straight line, right? Good. So the value of x then would fall between 1 and 4. Equal to 1, but less than 4. Alright? Good. So that this will be your solution to that part of the question. Alright, so we're going to go to our next question in short. Alright, now this is a different year. We tend to choose different years, so we'll come to the one question. Now this one says the function of f is defined as f of x equal 1/3 of x minus 2. We're asked to find out the value of f of 3 plus f of negative 3. Now let us see how that is done. Alright, now first of all you're going to plug in, or you're going to substitute the values of x in the function given. So let us start out by saying 1/3, I'll put 3 right here, bracket, negative 2. Now it says plus, so we're going to add it then. It's the same function, so we have right here 1/3 minus 3 minus 2. So now 1/3 of 3 is what? 1 minus 2 plus 1/3 of negative 3 is minus 1. So we could just simply remove that plus sign and put minus 1 minus 2. So what's the answer here? So 1 minus 2 is negative 1 minus 1 minus 2. Add everything. 1, 2, 4. So our final answer is equal to negative 4. Alright? Good. So the remaining part of the portion of the video will be seen in our second video, which is part 2 to this one. See you in part 2. Thank you very much.